Hello, my name is Doreen Brown, and I'm a program manager on the Cortana Skills Kit team here at Microsoft. I'm here today to show you what's new with the Cortana Skills Kit, which allows you as a developer to work with Cortana and build conversationally interesting experiences across Windows 10, Android, iOS, headless devices like our Harman Kardon Invoke, and even more. Back at Build 2017, we announced the public preview of the Cortana Skills Kit, which meant you could take your bots built using the Microsoft Bot Framework and then add the Cortana channel in order to power what we call a skill. Here, we'll talk about several new features that we've shipped in the meantime that make your skills even better than before. First off, we've added compatibility for several new cards to allow your UX to be even better than before. Features like sign-in cards allow you to request for username and passwords when you need it, as opposed to at the beginning of your skill. And features like audio cards will allow you to actually stream audio across several different devices. This is interesting with the recent announcement of the Harman Kardon Invoke, which is our new speaker running Cortana, and it's available today for you to use. Finally, all of these examples are documented in brand new experiences on docs.microsoft.com, so that as you build your skill, we have you covered every step along the way. In addition, we've shipped several new features to make your skills even more discoverable to your audience. The millions of customers in the ENUS market using Cortana already have these skills immediately available. There's no installation step or anything like that for skills, but there's always ways we can make them more discoverable. First off, we've shipped a very experimental feature between 5 and 15% of customers where Cortana will actually start to suggest skills in response to natural language input. So this means that you may not even need your invocation name, which is what you use to trigger your skill today, in order to find your skill. We'll demo that later in the session. Second, skills are now findable in Bing, in what we call a Bing answer. So if you think a company may have a skill or you are searching for something Cortana can do, we'll actually start surfacing these skills immediately for you to check out. Finally, as always, we have the Cortana Skills Marketplace with our store, which will allow you to find and discover the over 200 skills available to customers today. So we'll first start by building a skill using some of the new features we discussed. Let's take a look. Okay. So for this demo, we're going to create a mixtape skill. For this skill, Cortana will be able to A, understand when you want to make a mixtape, B, offer songs to add to the tape, and C, add the song to a list. In order to save the song to a list, she'll actually ask for your Microsoft account credentials so that she can just save the skill to something associated with you. What I have here is Azure pulled up on my screen, and I'm logged in with this DoreenBrownOutlook.com. I'm also logged into Cortana with that same account, so that any changes I make to my Cortana will just immediately appear and I can go test it out. What I've done here is I've created a bot. I've called it Mixtape, and it does a few basic things. If I say, make me a mixtape, over in the test panel on the right-hand side, it will say, welcome to Mixtape, let's find a song to play. If I ask it to play me a song, it will basically say, here's a song for you, and we'll do some audio streaming as part of the Cortana skill. And then finally, if I ask the bot to save this song, it will say, sign in to save the song as a mixtape. So the first thing we'll do is we'll make this a Cortana skill. And I do that by adding the Cortana channel. So all I'm going to do is click on this channel button here. It'll say use this bot to power a skill. It's currently using the name of the Azure instance I've spun up, and we'll make that a little bit more friendly. So we'll call it mixtape as the display name, which will show on the screen. And then my invocation name will be the word that I use to trigger the skill at the right time. And we'll also use mixtape for that. The long description and short descriptions are important for things like suggestions and being in the store, but less important for a demo. So I will just write something like this skill will help you find songs. And my short description, I'll just copy and paste because I'm not actually going to ship this. Down here, there are things like manage user identity through connected services and requesting user profile data. We've touched on user profile data in previous sessions. I highly encourage you to check those out. dev.microsoft.com has more details. We'll touch on the user identity in just a second. So what I'll do now is click the Save button. It will then actually create the Cortana skill. And now that I'm back on this page, I can actually open Cortana and test it out. So if I go to Cortana, I could talk to her, but I'm just going to type for now. I can say, ask mixtape to make me a mixtape. And you'll see that the mixtape skill shows up. If I click on it, it will ask me for permission, right? Because it's the first time I'm invoking the skill. The user must always know that data is being passed at the right time. And in this case, I'm straight up getting the request. So I will say, OK. And it says, welcome to Mixtape. Let's find a song to play. So that was creating a Cortana skill. Very simple, very straightforward. Now let's add things like speech, as well as other features that will make this skill actually very special. What I've got now is that same skill opened up in Visual Studio. And you can see that I've already pre-populated the bot with things like Lewis intents, with a Lewis model that I populated earlier. If I say, welcome to Mixtape, let's find a song to play, because I was typing, you didn't exactly hear it, but it also says, speaks it out loud. So let's do the first bit, which is to actually play a song. Playing audio with a Cortana skill is as simple as adding an audio card to my response. So that's just what I'll do now. I'll say audio card equals new audio card. And then for the media I want to pass through, we'll just give it an MP3 to some open source MP3 files that I got online. I'm hosting it manually, so I don't take them down, but we'll provide a link in the code itself. At this point, we're then going to attach the card as a response, or as an attachment to the response. So if I say response.attachments.add card.as card.toAttachment, this will attach the card, and then we will stream the audio right away. I've already added that I'm expecting input. This means that the conversation will continue because we're expecting the end user to do something with this data. So I'll just save this, we'll publish it out to Azure, and then see the audio working end to end. Right, so now that it's published, the service is updated in the background. Ask Mixtape to play me a song.
Here's a song for you.
Right, so that was very simple. All I had to do was add an MP3 to a card, and we already had media playing. Now, let's take a look at what it would take to actually save the song. Right now, when you say, please save the song for me, all it responds with is sign in to save the song to a mixtape, which is fine, but it doesn't really know where to save it. So the first thing we'll do is we'll prompt for a login of the user's Microsoft account so that it can be associated with their identity itself. The first step is actually some configuration back in the Cortana channel. What I'm going to do is click this pencil button just to bring up the channel config one last time. And we'll scroll back down to Manage User Identity through Connected Services. This is something I want, Connected Services being how Cortana manages OAuth tokens on your behalf. And I have the option to prompt for sign-in at invocation or to sign in when required, which is what we want. So I'm going to click this button here. You'll see it's reusing the icon for Connected Services. We'll call this Mixtape Microsoft account just to show that that's there. And then I've pre-copied the client ID and secret, which you need for OAuth identity, and we'll just copy paste this here. Space separated list of scopes. Really, this depends on what it is your identity provider is trying to do. We're not doing anything super fancy because we'll just demo popping the login page as opposed to writing a lot of data. So we'll just call this user.read. We will give it this. And then we will pass through the Microsoft account authorization URL and token URL. You can find more information on how I got this URL in the Microsoft Graph documentation. There's tons of tutorials. I highly encourage you to check those out. I'm going to click Save now. Cortana is persisting this information to her servers, and she'll actually be the person, or the AI, to prompt for that data at the right time. So you no longer need to debug all of your identity. You don't need to write that code. Cortana will just pass the token right to you as part of the overall flow. So now that this is saved, let's go back to our code. We have this save song intent, and this is the point where we want to have the login page pop up. And so we will give it a sign-in card, right, that says sign in to save this song. So at this point, we are going to, again, add this as an attachment so that the channel, Cortana channel, knows to play it back. And we will publish this one last time to show you what it takes to go have the sign-in experience. So at this point, our skill has been published. We'll reopen Cortana and ask her to save a song for us. Ask Mixtape to save the song.
Please sign in with Mixtape Microsoft account.
Right, so you can see that now we've just been prompted at the right time. I could have launched into another experience. It would not have asked. If I click sign in, it will launch into the Microsoft experience. I'll be able to sign in and continue on with the rest of my skills. Great, so today we talked about several new features of the Cortana Skills Kit. How to improve your audio-visual experiences through things like new cards and streaming audio, how to better interact with your customers by asking for authentication at the right time, as well as several new discoverability features so that your customers and users can find your skill at the right time. Now here's the best part. How do you get started building a skill? dev.microsoft.com/Cortana is the location for you to build a Cortana skill. We have documentation and samples, we have links to our blog. We also have several locations for you to just go check out and ask questions as you're going and building your skill. We're actively monitoring places like Stack Overflow, just to make sure if you have questions, we're making sure to answer them. We're also directly talking to folks like you on Twitter at our handle @CortanaDev. We look forward to seeing the skills that you build, and do feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching.